Hi there, DGTV. We're here today with Tom Rachman. Tom is a New York Times best-selling author, former Vancouverite. His novel, The Imperfectionists, is all about newspapering. So, Tom, you went from being a journalist yourself to writing this novel. Tell me about the process deciding that you were going to do this.
Well, actually, I wanted to be a fiction writer even before I ever got into journalism. And the reason that I entered the newspaper business was because I wanted to gather material and make myself more worldly and, you know, see the globe. And so it was over a period of years that I tried to do that and work in the international media and in a number of different cities.
Is that each chapter is a different character in this newsroom, in this newspaper in Rome. Do you think that all that background then that you had was a big help to sort of talking about these different people and these different job titles?
Absolutely, absolutely. The characters, funnily enough, though they are invented, they seem to have to resonate with a lot of reporters. A lot of journalists have, from all different parts of the world, have contacted me and said, you know, oh, I know that character, just like the person working next to me. And that's been tremendously gratifying.
Did Hollywood come calling yet for this?
Yeah, it's actually the rights.
Optioned?
The rights have been bought by Brad Pitt, so his production company. So they're.
And is Mr. Pitt? Who's Mr. Pitt going to be in this?
Well, you'd have to ask Mr. Pitt.
Angelina is Kathleen. Is that?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's just because you want to be on set. Let's be realistic.
Read newspapers on paper, and I prefer it, but I read a lot online. And when I get a page that says you have to now pay for it, you typically just navigate away. And I think that we've all gotten into this habit, and so the question of how do you get people to change their attitudes towards it? I think that probably newspapers and publications have to be bold. At a certain point, they have to I think demand that readers do contribute something to this enterprise that is pretty expensive. Mm-hmm. But to do that, they have to really set themselves apart. They have to be phenomenal. They have to be great. And if they're gonna let themselves sort of deteriorate to the level of a lot of the junk you see online with endless, you know, celebrity nonsense or whatever, then one thinks, well, why on earth would I bother to pay for that if it's the latest reports on Justin Bieber? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but if
there is a tipping point, though, isn't there? Really?
If there's a point at which you think, well, they're not really earning my contribution anyway. You have a multiplicity of sources online. Then what people are going to go to is not necessarily what is most relevant, but they're going to go to, you know, what is most sexy or the cat playing the piano. And I mean, those are the things that people are going to click on. And so the New York Times or whoever it is.
And Justin Bieber again, right?
Justin Bieber is new haircut or something.
Maybe we get him playing a piano.
Even
with
better.
A cat.
There you go.
Perfect.
You're going to have a hit. I guarantee it. And so, you know, if traditional publications are in a position where nobody's interested, they're desperately trying to get people to read, and they look around and see, well, what are people reading? And they see that, then they think, well, maybe we have to be doing more of that. And so progressively they've lost the initiative, and they end up trying to hold their heads up high while really lowering themselves frequently.
So if you were in charge of pick any newspaper tomorrow, you're running the joint, what would you be doing?
I don't know. I'm tempted to say look for another job, but it's so hard. I often think about what would I have done if I could go back, say, 15 years, and knowing how it all progressed, how could you save papers? And I really don't even know how you would do it. The only thing that I've come up with is what I said before, which is I think that they were too lax in just giving everything away. I think that was a real blunder.
Book number 2 right now?
Yeah.
And where are you working on that? Where?
I live in London at the moment.
Yeah, and so what's the book about?
I can't talk about what it's about.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a top secret. I'll say this, it's not about journalism this time.
Mm-hmm. Is it a novel?
It's a novel, absolutely a novel. But it's one of those funny things. I think, you know, you find it with a lot of writers that when the thing is still in progress, you feel like it's kind of still gestating and it's not really ready to be exposed yet. And if you were to, then it might somehow knock it all out of whack. So you become a bit
of
productive.
Superstition you've got there?
It's I don't know about superstition, but it's probably, you know, a degree of insecurity about it. You don't have the absolute confidence that it could withstand anything, and you don't necessarily want to, in its partly formed shape, expose it to the air.